Boruto has finally begun to embrace Momoshiki's power. He's requesting the use of it. Sarada's broken free from doubt and unlocked the full power of her Mangekyo. Even Kawaki, he's had his limiters removed and he now stands stronger than ever using Ishiki's full attack power. But there's one person left, one member of Team 7 who might have been replaced by the fake member of Team 7, Kawaki, and he's been watching from the shadows as his teammates, they soar quite ahead of him. They are hawks high into the sky. He remains as the lone snake that is crawling on his belly on the ground. That team member is obviously Mitsuki, the son of Orochimaru. Mitsuki's potential ceiling is unlike anyone else's though, and yet he hasn't reached it. He's just come up a little bit short. He's the final member of Team 7 who's not broken through his limits, and that's exactly why he is in line for a major power-up, and I think it is a lot closer than you guys might be thinking and aware of. Join me in today's newest Naruto Explain video where your OBC, your original Boruto Chief, gives all you Mitsuki fans, all 200 of you, the opportunity to get those pom-poms ready and start cheering for our boy to get a power-up. Also, if you've not seen the chapter review, I will leave that linked in the description box and the end credits for your convenience for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. And don't forget to check out my Anime Explain channel where I talk about non-Naruto anime in the form of video essays, chapter reviews, explain videos, etc. And over on my Everything One Piece Explain channel, we do the same thing for One Piece. Only it's a blind reaction because I've never gone through One Piece before, and we can do explain videos now because I am roughly caught up with the manga. I'm probably about 40 chapters behind. So getting right to it, Boruto 2 Blue Vortex has set the stage for Mitsuki to awaken. In Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, there's been a recurring theme, one that I don't think gets enough credit here. The members of Team 7, they are pushing past their internal and, in the case of Kawaki, their external blocks in order to reach their true potential. Kawaki isn't truly a member of Team 7. He's a fraud since he's pretending to be Naruto's child. He was accepted onto the team for the Boro mission and that training session that they had, but all that stuff in the anime was filler. But his evolution still mirrors that pattern. Amado, he removed his limiters and eliminated any physical restrictions he had on trying to use Ishiki's full attack power. Then you had Sarada. She broke through her mental block. She accepted her feelings of love for Boruto and the responsibility, and accepted the fact that by wanting to help Boruto, she could reach her full power. That's not the only reason why she's getting stronger, but that is a part of it. And in doing so, she reawakened her Mangekyo Sharingan powers, and that allowed her to surpass Jigen. Then you get into Boruto. He's now confronting the deepest fear inside of him, his fear of Momoshiki. Instead of resisting it, he's embracing it, turning that curse into his greatest strength. And then there's Mitsuki, the only one who has not shattered his chains. While everyone else is flying in the sky, that snake is still on its belly. And that's not an accident, and it's not by mistake that he is the last one. Again, the rest of them are hawks high into the sky. Mitsuki is the lone snake left behind. A snake cannot fly. However, a snake on the ground is still very dangerous, and the story is, in my opinion, building towards his moment. So Mitsuki's current position right now, he's grown stronger in the time skip. I think we all can agree upon that. His Sage mode's far more refined. He's deadlier, he's faster, he's got razor sharp instincts, he's got some power to his punches, and yet it's not enough. The Shinju threat, Code, Jura, eventually Kawaki, the Ten Tails clones, they are forces operating on a level beyond anything Mitsuki is capable of. Maybe not Code. Seems like everyone is getting an opportunity to whoop Code's ass, because as I warned you guys when Code was talking up his limiters, I said, hey, Jigen levels of power, prepare for that to be the new Super Saiyan. After Goku went Super Saiyan on Namek, that shit was a measuring stick and everyone whooped a Super Saiyan's ass. Ikimoto's a big Dragon Ball fan, wasn't hard to call that. So this dynamic makes Mitsuki feel a little bit like an observer, and that's intentional. He's always the one watching Boruto, he's watching Kawaki, he's watching Sarada, he's questioning himself, he's asking between Boruto and Kawaki which one is truly his son. which one's the sun to his moon. Boruto basically said, hey fam, you know Kawaki's a fraud deep down. Search your feelings. He pulled the Darth Vader on him basically. Search your feelings, you know it to be true. But here's the twist. This very doubt could be the key to unlocking his true breakthrough. His son was gone. With his son being gone, you could argue there might have been a mental nerf there that has prevented him from reaching his true power. Which, as a reminder, chakras made up of what? Yin energy and yang energy. Yin energy is tied to the spirit and the emotions. The emotions are dictated by the heart. So the sun and the moon conflict is there. From the very beginning, Mitsuki's entire identity, it revolved around finding his idea of the sun. It started with Kishimoto's one-shot manga for Mitsuki that came out before Boruto chapter 1. And basically that sun and the moon part of his character, he's the moon, a reflection, a companion, searching for the light that he should orbit around. For Mitsuki, that was supposed to be Boruto. However, due to omnipotence, that light, he believes it to be Kawaki, yet Kawaki's not a sun. Kawaki, for all intents and purposes, in terms of a contrast to Boruto, is a dead star, a black hole, if you will. He sucks everything into the vortex that is around his consequentialist ideology. Mitsuki's admiration is something that for him, it's almost bordered on worship in that he's always around Kawaki, being sucked into that vortex. But as the story unfolds, we see cracks forming as early as the first chapter where he's questioning, are you still the sun to my moon? Mitsuki's instincts are beginning to tell him the truth. And as he interacted with Boruto, he knows that Boruto, not Kawaki, might actually be his true son. If Mitsuki realizes that everything he felt for Kawaki was artificial, perhaps even manipulated by altered memories, much like how there have been some people that have realized this as well. If Mitsuki realizes his true connection lies with Boruto, then that false moon will finally give way to a real moon. If Mitsuki realizes his feelings for Kawaki were artificial, perhaps even accepts that omnipotence is a concept, that would be a psychological and a spiritual awakening. A breakthrough not unlike what you saw with Sarada, where a mental nerf was overcome. In that moment, Mitsuki could finally unlock the dormant power that is inside of him. And I think there is a dormant power there. He is Orochimaru's son. That by default gives him untapped potential. That's something we can't ignore. Mitsuki is Orochimaru's child. And with Orochimaru, nothing is ever truly simple. Mitsuki isn't some biological child in the sense that Orochimaru raised up some woman and had a child with her. Instead, he is a genetically engineered being. He is a clone, someone whose body, more likely than not, has other cells in it. The fact that he's able to go into Sage mode instantaneously and continuously get Sage mode chakra, that's a strong indication he's got Jugo cells. Jugo's clan's Kekkei Genkai allows for continuous use of Sage mode because they're continuously gathering nature energy. That's why Kabuto always stayed in Sage mode. He might be somebody whose body might have other abilities he doesn't know about, because when have you ever known Orochimaru to just stop at one thing? Orochimaru's always been obsessed with evolution, transformation, and breaking through the very boundaries of human potential itself. So what if Mitsuki hasn't even scratched the surface of what Orochimaru has placed inside of him? His Sage mode might only be the beginning. His body still could be harboring other hidden enhancements, dormant abilities, or unique adaptations designed to awaken under pressure. This means that Mitsuki's true ceiling could be far higher than any of his teammates, even higher than, say, Boruto Kawaki. Now, I doubt that, but it is Orochimaru, so we got to put some respect on Orochimaru's name. And that brings me to the spiritual dimension, because there's a symbolic layer there. Mitsuki's entire journey has been at the crux of it. Basically, he's been trying to become more human. He's been going through the stages of humanity. He started as a blank slate, curious and innocent, searching for meaning. Each step has been a stage of growth, mirroring the Buddhist concept on the path towards enlightenment. In Buddhism, enlightenment comes when illusion falls away. Mitsuki in the time skip's been living under illusion that Kawaki's his son, the illusion of false memories that comes from omnipotence, the illusion of his purpose was simply to follow. Yet Boruto in his conversation with Mitsuki tells him you could be your own son. When these illusions break, when Mitsuki realizes what Boruto told him was true, Mitsuki can finally awaken his true self. In Shinto tradition, the sun and the moon, they've always been paired as opposites. Amaterasu, goddess of the sun, Tsukuyomi, the god of the moon. That's why you see Itachi with those powers in different eyes. But Tsukuyomi is often portrayed as cold and distant, incomplete without the warmth of Amaterasu's light. Mitsuki's struggle mirrors this myth. He's been a moon searching for his sun. Once he finds it in Boruto, the true light, his balance is restored, and from balance comes true power. That power leads to a power-up for Mitsuki, and that's why Mitsuki's looming awakening is going to matter. If Mitsuki gets a power-up, it won't just be another character upgrade. It will be a cycle. Team 7, they have each faced their own block and they shattered it. Kawaki overcame the physical chains given to him by Amato. Sarada broke through mental doubt. Boruto is confronting a mental fear and despair he has towards Karma and Momoshiki. And Mitsuki, he would have to overcome the illusion of a false identity. When that happens, Team 7 will be whole. The original Team 7 will be whole. Notice how each member of Team 7 each have a mental wall they have to climb over. It shows their unity, and their unity will matter in the fights coming ahead. The sun and the moon balance is going to be needed for Mitsuki's role, especially when you look at how he's been positioned. He's always been somewhere close to Ada for a large chunk of the story, right when Mamushi is on the move. That's why Mitsuki's awakening isn't just likely, but it's also thematically necessary. The sun and the moon, they aren't meant to exist apart. They exist in balance. If Boruto is the sun, then Mitsuki must rise as the moon. If Boruto continues to grow unchecked while Mitsuki remains stagnant, that cycle breaks. The story has always framed Mitsuki as Boruto's natural counterpart, the one meant to reflect and stabilize and illuminate him in the darkness. And this is why Mitsuki catching up isn't optional. It's basically destiny. It's what Kishimoto intended way back in that Mitsuki one-shot chapter. The narrative won't allow Mitsuki to not shine as Boruto's moon. With the Ada and Damon situation is right there. Mitsuki has been positioned closely towards Ada and Damon, the two characters who are going to be on Mamushi's radar. Ada because Mamushi's obsessed with her due to Bug, and Damon by extension will be there because he's protecting his sister. If Mamushi does come to consume Ada, you better believe that Mitsuki's likely going to be there, and he will be forced into a life or death test. Protecting her isn't just about protecting an ally, it's about proving that he can step beyond simply orbiting Boruto and stand on his own, the way that Boruto said you can be your own light. And narratively, that could be one of the perfect triggers for Mitsuki's power-up, a crisis involving Ada, especially if Damon is taken down. It would test his humanity, it would test his loyalty and his emotional clarity all at once. If he awakens in that moment, it ties together every thread, the sun and the moon dynamic, Orochimaru's hidden experiments, Mitsuki's illusions about his purpose, and his role in completing the original Team 7's transformation. Because if Boruto is destined to shine as the sun, then Mitsuki must orbit around him in order to shine. That way Team 7 can finally be complete again. Mitsuki has been that quiet shadow, that loyal moon, always orbiting in someone else's light, but the time it is coming when that shadow must shine on its own. Again, as Boruto said, because when Mitsuki finally awakens, it won't just elevate him, it changes the power and the balance of power in the entire ninja world. The last member of Team 7 still hasn't shown his hand, but this could be the moment where that snake that is crawling on the ground, looking up at his teammates that are hawks flying in the sky, might actually transform into a dragon ready to take flight. Oh, that was bars right there. You gotta admit, that's some pretty good imagery. Came up with that off the top of my head. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, clicking on the left to check out that Boruto chapter review, or click here on the right to check out videos from other two anime channels where I talk about non-Naruto content.